If you are all wondering where the fantasy fun or the suck at Carolina locks are this week, they've been told their services are no longer required.
It's just like the end of Old Yeller.
Hello, and welcome to View from the Top of the Goalpost. I am Chad, unfortunately, here by myself this week as Diesel had some stuff come up, so was not able to record, but wanted to make sure you at least got our picks for the week. There will be no recap this week. Diesel's 1,000 games ahead of me and is going to win the regular season picks. And I, didn't have a great week with gambling. So let's just jump right into the NFL action for the week. So let us jump right into this week's action with all of our picks for Week 15 NFL action. We are officially done with the buys, thank goodness. No teams on bye, so we do have a full 16-game slate. So let's dive right into it. Some of these I'll talk more about. Some of these I probably won't talk too much about at all. I'm going to throw it out right away. The Diesel and I are in agreement for very many games this week. So we'll see if that works out in my favor or if it makes Diesel look really dumb. Doesn't matter. He won already this year. First of all, Thursday night football. We have the LA Rams taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are favored by 3 points, and the over-under is set at 49.5. Diesel and I are both taking the LA Rams in this game. And with a bonus lock, I will be taking the money line on this game. But if you want, you can take the +3. I think the Rams win this game. San Francisco 49ers are a damaged team. Who knows who's even playing running back as Isaac Guerrero, however you say his last name, got hurt last week as well and is still up in the air for his status. Brock Purdy hasn't looked great. They have very few wide receivers besides Kittle, and Debo has not been good this year at all. And on the other hand, the LA Rams just seem to get better and better each and every week. Puka Nacua is an absolute monster. Cooper Kupp is still Cooper Kupp. Matthew Stafford is the original Patrick Mahomes and just can will a team to victory. Kyron Williams is looking great. And once again, Jared Verse, as I said before the season started, is the defensive rookie of the year and is becoming an absolute game wrecker. I think that McVay can beat out the Shanahanigans just like he did the first time they met this year. And yeah, give me the LA Rams to win. Moving on to Sunday's action. We start at noon with the Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are favored by 3 points with an over-under of 43.5. Fun fact, this is the first time Carolina has been favored in a football game since 2022, which is pretty friggin' nuts. But yes, once again, as you saw at the beginning of the show, the Suck at Carolina lock has become no more. Because you want to know what? With the bronze lock of the week, we are taking the Carolina Panthers and eating those 3 points. Listen, the Panthers deserve more wins than they have in these past weeks since Bryce Young has come back from being benched. I mean, the kid has started to look like the number one pick that they traded everything away to get. He is looking good, and Dallas is a dumpster fire. Listen, there may be some points scored in this game, but I do not believe in Mike McCarthy at all. He is a dead coach walking. And even with Bill Belichick now taking the UNC job, even though everyone kind of thought he was going to the Dallas Cowboys, I think this is just one more nail in the coffin of Mike McCarthy. Give me the Carolina Panthers. And with the bronze lock of the week, I can't believe I'm putting a bronze lock on this. Eat those 3 points and roar, big cats, roar. Next, we will move on to the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are getting 4.5 points in this game, which means Kansas City is favored, and the over-under is set at 43.5. Diesel and I are both in agreement. We're both on Kansas City. Not going to really talk about this game too much besides the fact that Kansas City clearly does have some sort of devil magic, because there is no way that you win your past 15 one-score games. And the way they keep winning these games is just infuriating. And I'm sure on Christmas Day, Kelsey's going to propose to Taylor Swift after they miraculously beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, as Santa Claus, I'm sure himself, will come down and block a field goal for them, because that's just what Kansas City does. So I will be taking Kansas City to win this game. And even though Kansas City has not covered one time this year, screw it. This will be the first time this year. I will be eating that minus 4.5 points. And I don't really have a lot else to say about this game. Next, we go to at noon, the Miami Dolphins traveling to the Houston Texans. The Texans are favored by 3 points in this game, with an over-under of 46.5 points. Once again, Diesel and I are in agreement on this game. We are both taking the Houston Texans. Listen, I'm taking them because they're coming off their bye. They have way more to play for than Miami. I know Miami technically still has an outside, very, very outside shot of making the playoffs if everything broke right for them, but it's not going to. So their season's over. And Houston can still win the AFC South and be a playoff team. Thus, coming off their bye with another bonus lock, I will be eating the 3 points from Houston. I just believe in them a lot more. But don't get me wrong, Tua does deserve a lot more respect, as he is now 15 touchdowns thrown to 1 interception since his return from his last concussion stint. So the man is playing really good, but just this Dolphins team dug themselves too big a hole and just lost some of those games that they definitely should have lost. So I think Houston has more to play for, and they win this game this week at home. And eat those 3 points and win yourself some money. Moving on to our next noon game, we have the New York Jets traveling to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jets are favored by 3.5 points, with an over-under set at 40.5. Diesel and I, once again, are in agreement, and this will be the Emerald Lock of the week, folks. But we will be going with the New York Jets to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Listen, both of these teams are dead in the water. There is nothing to play for here but draft position. And I think that Jacksonville just is worse. Mac Jones is your quarterback. I know Aaron Rodgers is having an off year, but he's actually looked better. It's this Jets defense that's kind of let them down over these past couple weeks. I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say about it. Give me the Jets. And with an Emerald Lock of the week, I will be eating those 3.5 points. Next, moving on to our, nope, not the last one, third to last noon game. We have the Washington Commies traveling to the New Orleans Saints. The Commies are favored by 7.5 points, and the over-under is set at 43.5. Once again, I know it's getting a little boring to say, but Diesel and I are both in agreement in this game. And with the gold lock of the week, give us Washington. And I will be eating those 7.5 points. Listen, once again, New Orleans has nothing to play for except maybe trying to get the special teams coach hired as their full-time coach. They seem to like the guy a lot, but Derek Carr is now out for the season. Spencer Rattler is not a very good quarterback. He did not look good in the few starts that he had. And Washington is coming off their bye. Once again, Washington is playing for a playoff spot. The division is probably out of reach at this point, barring a Philadelphia collapse, but the wild card is still wide open, and they can definitely grab that 7th or 6th seed and make it to the dance. And once you're in, anything can happen. I like this Washington team a lot. They have so many weapons, and coming off their bye, they should actually be healthy. And I don't see them having any problems with New Orleans. So with the gold lock of the week, I know it's a lot of points at 7.5, but I'm going to eat them. And I think you should too. Moving on to our second to last noon game on Sunday, we have the Baltimore Ravens traveling to the New York Football Giants. The Ravens are favored by 16 points. Yes, 16 points, which is nuts. And the over-under is set at 42.5. Yeah, Diesel and I are once again in agreement. We're both on the Baltimore Ravens. Tommy DeVito is once again starting for the Giants as Drew Lock is now hurt and also looked like straight up trash last week against the Saints for 90% of that game. I'm not going to mess with 16 points, though, even though I do strongly feel that, yeah, the Ravens could easily cover that. Give me the over 42.5 in this game. Listen, Baltimore might cover that themselves. Baltimore's coming off their bye. Baltimore is pissed off. They have not looked great lately. And a lot of people have been talking a lot of mad trash about this team and how they've kind of, screwed the pooch this year with this defense. They have an amazing offense with 2 MVP candidates, but this defense has leaked like a sieve all year. And this is a classic get-right game coming off your bye. You beat down the Giants and you put up 50 points on them by yourself. Basically why I'm taking the over. And yeah, give us the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. Moving on to our final noon game of the week. We have the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to the Tennessee Titans. Once again, Diesel and I agree on every single noon game and the Thursday night game this week because we are both on the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game. Listen, Will Levis is just not the answer. I know Calvin Ridley's been looking solid, and Tony Pollard is once again a good running back. He's not great, but he's a really good running back. So they have a few pieces there, but this is a full-on need of a rebuild. You need to blow this team up and start a 3 to 5 year rebuild plan and stick to it for Tennessee. Cincinnati, on the other hand, is the best offense in football paired with what some would say is the worst defense in football because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are absolutely lighting it up this year. And if they'd won a few more of these games that they lost, Joe Burrow would be in the MVP conversation as the dude is lighting up scoreboards. I think he's only thrown like 6 interceptions all year, and he has 30 plus touchdowns. Out of control. And that's with the dog crap start that they had to start the season. So Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are fine. This defense, however, is absolute dog crap. And I can't believe that Cincinnati is eliminated from playoff contention, basically, as they've lost too many games and there's no chance to win that division. But this week, they're going to Rex house on the Tennessee Titans. And Will Levis will probably do some stupid stuff and throw a couple picks and maybe make Cincinnati's defense look good for a week. So yes, with a bonus lock of the week, I will be eating those 5 points, but both Diesel and I are on Cincinnati to win this game. Moving on to our first afternoon game, we have the New England Patriots traveling to the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are favored by 6 points with an over-under of 45.5. Diesel is picking the Arizona Cardinals to win this game. And folks, I'm sure you already know where I'm going with this, but I gotta do it. This is probably about the last time this year that I'm going to be able to do it with any confidence, as the Patriots' schedule is absolutely brutal with having to play the Bills twice down the stretch. But yes, with the heart lock of the week, give me the New England Patriots to win this game. You can take the +6 if you want. I am taking them outright with the money line. But yes, the Patriots have been keeping games close every week. They're coming off their bye, and Arizona just can't get out of their own damn way. The curse of the Red Birds, like the Falcons and the Arizona Cardinals, 2 stacked rosters that just really, I mean, the Cardinals have technically overperformed this year in a lot of people's eyes, but I thought they could be even better than this. I didn't think they were a playoff team, but I thought they'd win a couple more of these close games, and getting basically routed by Seattle last week, and especially in the way that they lost with Kyler throwing those two terrible, terrible interceptions when the game was still close. It's just, there's something wrong with the Cardinals, and can't put my finger on it, but I really like this kid, Drake May. I like him a lot. I think that he is the answer for this franchise for the next at least probably 5-6 years, hopefully. And they can really focus on rebuilding the rest of the team around him. So with the heart lock of the week and Diesel and my first disagreements of week 15, I am taking the New England Patriots to win, and Diesel is taking the Arizona Cardinals. Moving on to our next afternoon game, we have the Indianapolis Colts traveling to the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are favored by 4 points, and the over-under is set at 44.5. Once again, Diesel and I are in agreement on this game, as we are both going with the Denver Broncos to win. And with the silver lock of the week, I will be taking those -4 points and eating them. Because, yes, I know that both Indy and Denver are coming off their byes, but I don't know. Sean Payton has got this Denver team just a cooking. And Jimmy Leonard over there coaching those D-backs, this no-name defense, or the console defense, as Brandon Pernell likes to call them. They've been doing some great things. And I think with a week off to get healthier, give Bo Nix a little more time just to keep digesting this absolutely insanely difficult offense, I don't think Indy has a lot of shots at this game. Indy doesn't seem to know that they need to run the ball. They don't give the ball to Jonathan Taylor nearly enough. And Anthony Richardson has looked a lot better since he was benched for Flacco and now brought back. But he still is a very underdeveloped quarterback who can make the most difficult throws on the planet easily, and then misses a 5-yard out. And he misses it badly for an interception. So, yes, give me the Denver Broncos to win this game. And with the silver lock of the week, I will be eating those 4 points. And also, sorry for the noise in the background. My daughter is talking to her TV and as she's watching Spider-Man. Right. We move on to our next afternoon game, where we have the Buffalo Bills traveling to the Detroit Lions. The Lions are favored by 2.5 points with an over-under of 54.5, which is massive. Once again, Diesel and I are in agreement on this game, which is kind of crazy, but we are both going with the Buffalo Bills to win here. And with a need to win lock, I will be taking the money line on the Bills. I guess you can take the +2.5, but when it's that low, just take the money line, folks. It makes way more sense. Buffalo lost in a heartbreaker last week to the LA Rams, where Josh Allen scored 6 touchdowns all by himself and still managed to lose the game. Don't get me wrong. I still think they are the big dicks. Don't get me wrong. I still think the Lions are the big dick swingers of the NFC. And I think that their path to the Super Bowl is almost preordained at this point, because they are far and away the best team, I believe, in the NFC. But I don't know. This Buffalo team, just like last week, I just had a feeling they'd lose to the Rams. And this week, throwing analytics out the window, I just got a feeling that they're going to lose, or they're going to beat the Detroit Lions. I don't know. I know it's in Detroit and everything, but I don't know. Buffalo has played home games there before because of snow, so it's basically their home away from home at this point. So give me the Buffalo Bills to win this game, and with a need to win lock, I will be taking the money line on the Bills. Our next afternoon game sees the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to the LA Superchargers. The Chargers are favored by 3 points with an over-under of 45.5. Diesel is going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by the cockroach, Baker Mayfield. But I disagree. And I will be going with the LA Chargers in this game. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Baker Mayfield. And Tampa Bay is a team that is so much fun to watch, and it's hard not to root for them. The Chargers this year are quietly the number one scoring defense in the NFL. And even though they lost on a doinker to the frickin' Kansas Devil Chiefs, it's okay. They still are going to make the playoffs. And the Chargers are a very, very good team this year. And Tampa Bay just lost Bucky Irvin. I don't think he's playing this week. And I do think that he has been one of the big reasons why they have just been so good this year, because without a running game, that's when Tampa Bay was losing games. And Baker can do everything that he can, but you still need some complimentary football. And Rachaad White is just not been doing it for the Bucs this year. And without Bucky Irvin, I think the Chargers can handle Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans and win this game. Once again, I'm throwing analytics out the window as well. Just like Diesel, just going with my gut. And my gut is telling me that the Chargers are going to win this game. And with a bonus lock, I will be eating those 3 points. And I hope you will as well. Moving on to our final afternoon game. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling, quote unquote, to the Philadelphia Eagles, a big in-state rivalry game. The Eagles are favored by 5.5 points. Wow. And the over-under is set at 41.5. Diesel and I are both once again in agreement. And once again, it's probably our own hubris because we just hate Nick Sirianni so much. But yes, Diesel and I will both be taking the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game. And as a bonus lock, hey, I'll be taking the money line on Pittsburgh, which should be pretty juicy. I think last I saw was about plus 220, and whew, that's nice. So give me the Pittsburgh Steelers. Listen, Russell Wilson has turned himself back into Russell Wilson of yesteryear, and George Pickens may play this week. It's still up in the air. I know that Mike Tomlin said that it was probably not going to happen, but there's a chance. But Najee Harris, Russell Wilson, the rest of Pat Freiermuth, this offense has suddenly become an offensive powerhouse. And they are putting up points on everyone. And with that defense backing them up, with TJ Watt still there and Armstead and all those other guys, shit, this is a legit dark horse Super Bowl contender in this Pittsburgh Steelers team. And once again, I just hate Nick Sirianni so effing much. I don't believe in this Philadelphia offense. Just like AJ Brown said, what needs to improve? Passing. Yes, I know Saquon Barkley is the probably MVP candidate this year if Josh Allen wasn't doing crazy things. But this team goes how Saquon goes. And we saw that against Carolina. They almost lost to Carolina. Probably should have lost to Carolina. And it was because Saquon couldn't get going. And they couldn't do shit with their passing game against the Carolina Panthers. So yes, give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game and maybe even win it convincingly, because these are both teams that like to close out and beat down opponents. And I think Philly might get their doors blown in by this Mike Tomlin-led Pittsburgh squad. And whew, it'll be fun to see Nick Sirianni freak out about that as all those Philly fans boo the shit out of him. All right, moving on to Sunday Night Football. We have the Green Bay mother-loving Packers traveling to the Seattle Seahawks. The Packers are favored by 3 points, and an over-under is set at 45.5. You know Diesel is, of course, on the Green Bay Packers. But I am with the Cat Scratch Fever lock of the week, going with the Seattle Super Chickens. And I will be taking the money line on them. Listen, folks, I think Green Bay is a really, really good team this year. I do. I think that they are set for the future. And the future is so, so bright for Green Bay. But also, this defense just ain't quite there yet. They do not have a consistent way to get a pass rush going. And without that, Geno Smith is going to accumulate a lot of yards. And with the guys like Jackson Smith and Jigba and DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and Zach Charbonnet, I mean, there is a lot of offensive weapons on this game. And if you're going to be giving Geno Smith 3 to 4 seconds every time in the backfield, which the Packers are known to do because they can't get any pass rush, he's going to carve you up. And it's a really, really hard place to play in Seattle. And I heard on Wildy and Tausch, Wildy talking about the fact that there's only 2 Packers players who have actually ever had to play in Seattle. So almost 95% of this team has never had to deal with the 12th man. And the 12th man is a real thing. So give me the Seattle Sea Chickens to beat the Green Bay Packers. And with the cat scratch fever lock, give me the money line on Seattle. Moving on to Monday Night Football. And guess what, folks? We have a late season doubleheader once again on Monday Night Football. I don't know why we get 2 games, but whatever. They're both games at the best. Maybe if you combine the 2 of them, we could have a good game. But first off, we have the Chicago Bears traveling to the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings are favored by 7 with an over-under of 43.5. Don't have a lot to say about this game at all. Diesel and I are both on the Minnesota Vikings. And with a bonus lock, I will be eating the 7 points. Listen, the Bears are a offensive line and a coaching staff away from being a solid to great team. They have so many pieces on offense. They have so many pieces on defense. They just don't have anyone to put it all together for them. Hopefully they get that figured out in the offseason, and hopefully they draft an offensive line for Caleb Williams, because while I don't personally like him or think he's going to be a top 5 quarterback, I do think he's going to be a good quarterback, and with a good quarterback, you can win in the NFL. So I think the Bears have found their quarterback for the future, but I just don't think this is their year, and it's clearly shown not to be. And on the other hand, the Minnesota Vikings are just screwing around with Sam Darnold and have won 10 games already and only lost 2. I don't truly know what to say about this team. They just keep winning. And I know that the purple incarnation of Satan themselves, but I don't know. I'm not picking against them anymore because it just is dumb. It's dumb. And playing Chicago in Minnesota, they're probably going to run roughshod over them, and Sam Darnold will throw for another 5-6 touchdowns, and Justin Jefferson and Addison will both have 2 touchdowns now that I'm out of the fantasy playoffs. So it doesn't matter to me anymore. So woo! Give me the Minnesota Vikings. And with the bonus lock, I will be eating those 7 points. Moving on to the final game of Week 15, our doubleheader of Monday Night Football. We have the Atlanta Falcons traveling to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Atlanta Falcons are favored by 4 with an over-under of 44.5 points. Yeah, Diesel and I are both on Atlanta. This is the Raptor lock of the week. I'm going to eat those 4 points. Atlanta, you have broken my heart this year so many times in so many different ways over. Kirk Cousins, I feel for you, but it's time to go the way of the white buffalo and go extinct because, man, you need to get some more reconstructive surgery done on that ankle. You look slow. You can't seemingly take a snap from under center, which has really impeded this Falcons team this year. And this Falcons defense is just atrocious. I don't know how this secondary has fallen so far apart. I mean, once again, it's because they can't get any pass rush, but the curse of the Redbirds. I mean, the Falcons and the Cardinals. I said it when we were talking about the Cardinals earlier. They are just bad. They're great rosters that have just turned out really bad teams, and I don't quite understand why. I like Raheem Morris as a coach, but it might be time to start Penix to see what you have in him for the rest of the season, because honestly, even if they do make the Honestly, even if they do make the playoffs, do you think that they're going to win a game? Because I sure as heck don't. And seeing how Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison scored this last week against them were two of the worst plays I've ever seen a defensive secondary make, where they legitimately lost the football and then found the football, lost it again, and then just flopped and let the offense walk into the end zone. Listen, if they weren't playing the absolute dumpster fire that is the Las Vegas Raiders, who also need to just blow everything up and just keep Bowers, besides that, trade away Crosby and blow up everything else and start fresh, I probably wouldn't be picking Atlanta to win this week. But because they are playing the Raiders and they're only favored by -4, this is the Raptor Lock of the Week, and we'll eat those 4 points. And once again, Diesel and I are both picking Atlanta to win this game. All right, folks. So those are our Week 15. I see that. Okay, folks. Those were our Week 15 picks. I hope that next week we will be back to our regularly scheduled programming with both Diesel and I recording together, and we'll really be able to dive into Week 16. But besides that, I hope you enjoyed this solo endeavor. I'm sorry that it's a little quicker, and I probably didn't give as much analysis as I usually do, but I'm trying to do this a little quick with my wonderful children in the background and also play with them. So you see some weird cuts and such in the episode. It's because I just stopped doing this to go hang out with them for a little bit. But yes, make sure you are commenting, sharing, subscribing, telling your friends, your family, anyone who will listen to give this a listen, a watch. And down in the comments, why don't you put what was the weirdest cut that I had to put in here because of my kids yelling in the background? Or if you don't care about that, why don't you put in the comments down below who is your pick to win the Super Bowl right now, today, as you watch this episode? Sans that, I have been Chad. I thank you so much for listening. Hey, it's week 16 or week 15 of football. We're almost through the regular season, which is both sad and a little exciting to get my life back with all this football action. But yes, with nothing else to say, there's only one line that Diesel always closes the show with, and it is, let's go watch some football. Bye. This has been a Visionaries Global Media production. Visionaries Global Media, envisioning excellence on a global scale.